Ay, ay, ay. What a morning, eh? Okay, now, full disclaimer, you might be thinking to yourself, Lego, it's 9, 10, 10:30 a.m. in the morning. What are you doing up? Like, don't you normally sleep in until the afternoon? And yes, that is normally the case, but extenuating circumstances have called me to wake up earlier today, which means that I was greeted with this lovely, lovely tweet from Irfan Gafar, who went out there and posted this about the Vancouver Canucks and their defensive situation. Sounds like Canucks defenseman Filip Hronek is going to be out a while with an upper body injury. And Irf then added, literally just a minute ago, I want to add that it doesn't look like surgery is going to be required for this injury, which is some good news. But wow, is this not like the worst thing that the Vancouver Canucks could have happened to them at this point in the season? If you wanted to see, by the way, like what happened, why is Hronek out? Well, this actually did happen at the end of the Pittsburgh game yesterday. Filip Hronek might have hurt himself bad here after getting bumped into the boards. He left hunched over, favoring his arm and shoulder. And you can see in the clip, with 47 seconds to go, he kind of stumbles, he kind of gets pushed into the boards, and he ends up going into it really hard. Just right into the extra tasty platter sign, whatever it is that's on there. But Hronek then falls down, and he stays down for a little bit. That was a pretty contentious moment in yesterday's Penguins game. We did not even talk about it in the post-game video. Like, that's kind of on me. That's my responsibility to talk about stuff that happened. But it was one of the many things that was happening with 48 seconds to go in the third period. So, seeing that go down, seeing Hronek now be placed on the shelf for a little bit, Irfan Gafar says Hronek's out for a while. Who knows how long a while is really going to be? But just to see that, oh boy, I don't know if that's really something that Canucks fans can tolerate this year. Because now, if you talk about some of the outcomes, what's going to happen with this? Okay, well, Filip Hronek comes out. Who comes into the first pairing? You have no choice but to play Tyler Myers now, right? And then with Myers up, you would have the second pairing, which would be Carson Soucy and, I guess, Noah Juulsen? Or Desharnais, and you swap it around with the other guy? I mean, 1, 2, 3, Hughes, Myers, Soucy, let's just say Desharnais, and then Brannstrom, Juulsen. Oh, that sucks. That is so bad. Oh no! Oh no! Oh boy. Oh man, you know what? We can make another video later in today's show about David Jiricek and the Columbus situation over there, because there was a little bit of an update with Vancouver and Jiricek recently. There is a lot we can get into there, but I don't want to talk about Jiricek in this video in particular because I wanted to keep this conversation localized within the Vancouver sphere. If you end up calling some guys up, I guess you can have maybe a Mark Friedman as the extra guy for Vancouver, or if you really wanted to give some extra playing time or paying time to the prospects, you can say Elias Pettersson, the other one, Chet Wu. There are some guys that do exist in Abbotsford that have been okay, but thinking about what Myers, Juulsen, and Desharnais are going to cook together as the Vancouver Canucks right pair decor, ay, that's really, really ugly. And I think now some of the replies on this Irfan Gafar tweet spell a lot of what Canucks fans are thinking about. Because obviously, you know, this is a big tweet, this is a big idea. Canucks, Filip Hronek's going to be out for a while. Look at a whole bunch of the replies. I hope you enjoyed Vancouver, Nils Hoglander. Goodbye, Nils Hoglander, and a first. And then if you go over and search Hoglander into the Twitter box, and you go by recent, you'll see a lot of Canucks fans freaking out that Hoglander is going to get traded and that he's out pretty much. In fact, speaking out about Hoglander, let's go over a few updates before we talk about the entire trade conversation here. When it comes to Hoglander's struggles as of late, this is what Rick Dollyball tweeted about earlier this morning. I'm told all parties, including agent Alain Roy, are trying to get things back on track. All parties want the same thing, which is for Nils to play well and find his confidence. And then you had yourselves another reply here. Remember the very similar tweet that was made just over a year ago, but the name was Kuzmenko instead of Hoglander? Oh yeah. I do remember that. I remember the conversations about Kuzmenko being very similar to what we are seeing with Nils Hoglander today, which does pique my interest as to where everything is going to go. Because if the agent's going out there and saying it, yeah, we just want him to play well, we want him to get his game back, etc., etc. He hasn't been scoring lately. He had a 20-goal season last year. Most of them, if not all of them, at even strength. And this year he hasn't really been doing the same thing. And you could say it's chalked up to deployment. You can say it's because he's playing with guys like Aatu Räty. No disrespect to Aatu Räty, but he's no Elias Pettersson. You can say it's about the line mates. You can say a lot of things. But ultimately, Nils Hoglander is a guy who has not been living up to his expectations. And it's kind of funny how a lot of Canucks fans' instinctual reaction to the Hronek injury news is that, yeah, no, this guy's getting traded. Sorry, Hoglander. Goodbye. Let's go over to another tweet here before we dive into some of the other stuff here. Cody Savertson went out there and tweeted this as well. Hoglander is just suffering from the same crap everyone else is suffering from, not being on a giga-boosted PDO bender. He's actually outperforming his expected goals without using Pettersson at 5v5, which he didn't do last season. Now, essentially, what Severson is saying is, in a very cheeky way, the Canucks last year were kind of shooting everything and it was going in. It was kind of ridiculous how high the Canucks PDO was last year, but this year, everybody has been scoring less because the whole team has just been scoring less in totality. The team is not getting the same lucky bounces and the same shots to go in and the same high PDO like they had last season. So Hoglander is a part of the group that is not producing as much, but he actually has been slightly outperforming from last season. And the numbers from his expected goal differential and stuff without Elias Pettersson and Hughes reflect that. It's in the chart on the tweet. While playing without Hughes and Hronek last year, the Canucks had an absurd .959 save percentage at 5v5 when Hoglander was on the ice and a modest 8.51 shooting percentage. This season, without PD and Hughes, the Canucks have a comically bad .850 save percentage at 5-on-5 when Hoglander is on the ice. Last season, the only player to share ice time with Hoglander and not trade even in goals or have a positive control of goals at 5-on-5 was Carson Soucy, who had 2 goals for and 2 goals against. Linus Karlsson and Teddy Bluger were a 50% goals for ratio, everyone else was 50+. Essentially, the numbers here are implying that Hoglander has been just kind of a part of a more unlucky sample this year compared to last season. The team is not saving pucks when he is on the ice, and his expected goal number is actually a bit better compared to last year. Of course, this is all within the sample of him playing without Hughes and Petey on the ice. But nobody's going to look at that. That's the thing. Like, you could look at the numbers, the advanced analytics, the fancy stats, etc., but at the end of the day, I think a lot of Canucks fans will focus on the raw, hard goals and assists numbers and try to divulge their expectations from those numbers. And admittedly, those simple numbers of goals and assists have not been there, despite the fact that Hoglander isn't actually playing all too poorly compared to what we thought he'd be able to do. But now, a lot of Canucks fans are jumping to that conclusion. Oh yeah, bye Nils Hoglander, he's gonna get traded. I think a lot of it is tongue-in-cheek. Like, a lot of these conversations are based out of the doom and gloom of Canucks fans bringing itself back up to the surface, bubbling up because, hey, the team is getting another injury, and it's another good player, so they're gonna have to make a trade soon. Like, they were already thinking about making a trade for a right-handed D, now they really gotta do it because Tyler Myers is gonna be a first-pairing guy. There's no way Tyler Myers is gonna be able to handle top-pairing minutes. Like, oh boy, the rest of the NHL is going to have a field day with the Vancouver Canucks. All you got to do is hope that by the time the playoffs roll around, by the time the trade deadline rolls around, Miller is back, Demko is back, Hronek is back, Besser already returned. You just got to hope that everybody is good and healthy. And I think Canucks fans are starting to come to the realization that last year was a very, very good year. In terms of the injuries, in terms of the man games missed, in terms of the top stars actually playing. Like, the big guys all played most of the year, and that, we have to admit, it's something that Canucks fans are not used to, because we very frequently see Canucks fans go through the pain of seeing their guys get injured year in and year out, whether it is a Pettersson or a Besser, or even in years past, everybody else getting hurt. And now in 24-25, it's Filip Hronek. Oh, he's going to be out for a while. This is a disaster. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below whether or not this is really that bad. And do you think this means that a Nils Hoglander trade is a lot more likely compared to what we initially thought? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this British 9, and bye.